We got it.
Hi.
Hi, Andrea. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I mean, what better way to finish an epic day with an epic guest, and also a better way to spend an epic Saturday with an epic guest. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Same. I love being here with you and chatting about whatever we're going to chat about.
Let's go. Let's go. So welcome to the show. It is so amazing and epic to have you here. Now, before we start, I have to give you a proper welcome for someone as amazing as you. So if you have seen some of my episodes before, you know exactly what I'm about to do. If not, well, then let me show you.
I'm excited. Oh. That's hilarious.
You know, we are growing. We are still a small operation, but we are growing little by little. Who knows? For my 1,000th episode, I might do it on Staples Center with live audience. We'll see.
Well, that would be very exciting, but I like the applause already. It's a good start.
Absolutely. And of course, even though if I get audience, once I get audience, I'm gonna still be playing this just for the memories, you know. So,
yeah.
love it.
Cool.
Love it. So, starting right now with everything, tell me how your acting career started.
How it started? Well, I think I was about 10 years old when I started doing theater.
Okay.
And that was like a small kids theater in Switzerland in my hometown where I grew up. And yeah, that's kind of where the acting bug bit me, I guess. But of course it was first on stage and I was a child. So it's not like I knew anything about the industry, or I also didn't think, oh, I want to do this as a career. That really kind of came later. Probably when I started making films, or when I did my first short film as the lead role.
Okay.
I think I was like 16 or so. And that's really when I was like, ooh, I want to do this. Like, this is probably the coolest thing I've ever done in my life.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That's amazing. And from which part of Switzerland are you?
I was born in Lucerne. It's like a small town. It's pretty much like right in the middle of Switzerland, and we speak Swiss German, and it's really cute and quaint and adorable, especially right now. It's in wintertime. It's just it's probably just the cutest little town right now compared to LA.
Oh yeah, I get it. Yeah, I went to Switzerland once, and yeah, I loved it.
Oh my gosh, where did you go?
I was in Bern, like the capital.
Yeah.
And then I went to the Alps, and wow.
Yeah, that's a good reaction.
I mean, the whole, I still remember it like it was yesterday. Like the hotel that I stayed on the Alps. I remember that it had a balcony, and you opened the balcony, and the Alps in front of you. It was
my God.
Such a beautiful.
There's nothing like it. Like, even now, I've been here for so many years that I see photos and videos of Switzerland. I'm like, oh my God, is this real?
Yeah.
Like, it's like unbelievable.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looks Did you go in summer or winter?
It was spring.
Okay. Yeah,
But it was amazing. I mean, I loved it. It was so beautiful, and I've said that. I mean, I've said it to myself that when I'm 60, yeah, like 50, 60, I would like to retire there.
Really? I love that. I say that about Italy, which is right next door, but
yeah, but it was amazing, and also there's like during the whole pandemic, there's this DJ called Nora and Pure. She's a she's also from Switzerland, and she was making live sessions in different different parts of the country. But it was so amazing because you will see the mountains and the river. It was beautiful. I was like, yeah, I definitely gonna retire there.
Oh my God, I love that. That's good. It's a good place to retire, I have to say. Probably one of the.
It was beautiful. I mean, unfortunately, when I went to the Alps and I was at the top, I was feeling horrible. My head was that it was about to explode. I remember I couldn't open my eyes. I mean, if I opened it, I was feeling that it was like they were like popping out.
Oh my God!
It was horrible, and they ended up calling the paramedics, and they like fastly they again went down, But I remember that while I was like in pain, I was like, I need to see this. I need to see this. So I opened my eyes for a couple of seconds, and I was like, looks beautiful. It's amazing. Okay, put me down now. Put me down. I'm gonna die.
Gotta go.
Yeah.
Oh wow! It was probably like the elevation.
Yeah. What?
Maybe you were like not used to it at all.
Yeah, I was not used to. I was not used to it at all. And the doctor told me that maybe what happened is that, well, first you're not used to that, and the second thing that happened was that you went fast. So probably that change made your head be like, whoa, wait, what is going on here? And I mean, even though it was beautiful, I mean, even though those few minutes I was there, I loved it. I was like, I really need to go back here and see it again, because it's such a very magical, beautiful place. I mean, I would definitely suggest to those who haven't gone there, and if you're planning to have a cool holiday, definitely go there.
Yes, listen to him. No, for sure. But make sure you don't go up the mountain too fast.
Oh yeah, no, because it's horrible.
That's the message.
It's horrible because it was like literally that, like there was some. I mean, it was one of the things that surprised me is that when I started to feel bad, I didn't have to say anything. So I was just sitting, and then instantly, like there was some staff there, and they instantly knew this guy. Like, so there's something wrong with this guy. So they instantly came without me saying anything. And then a couple of minutes later, I think like 1-2 minutes later, I was already going down, you know, on this thing. I don't know what the name of it, you know, that they And
gondola.
yeah. And like with paramedics and everything. And once I was down, they checked, and they were like, yeah, I mean, what happened was that here's some chocolate. And
oh my god!
Yeah, they gave me.
Do you know what helped?
They gave me a chocolate bar. They were like, just eat a chocolate bar.
Oh, wow!
And the dizziness and everything is gonna pass in a couple of minutes. You'll be fine.
Oh my god, that deserves another applause.
Oh, yeah. It was beautiful. That was amazing. I was like,
that's amazing. I need to start doing that when somebody feels bad. Do you want some chocolate?
Yeah, no, like literally.
In Switzerland.
Like, yeah, like the paramedic, they just opened the bag and was like, I got your solution. And then just gave like this chocolate bar. He gave it to me, and I was like, I mean, there's no reason why we should give you like medication. I mean, what happened was that, and that's it. So with a chocolate bar, you're good to go. I mean, we have people like this every single day, so it's fine. Don't worry. I was like, okay.
I've never heard a more amazing like medical story of like how they revived somebody like with chocolates.
And it was good. I mean, it was delicious. I kept the
wrapper.
Yeah, I kept it. I was like, I'm gonna keep it. So if one day I found it, I'm definitely gonna buy it. But I still haven't found it. I mean, I was like, I think I need to go there to find it. So, and
I love it.
And I feel so bad that I didn't bought, you know, like this can. Like when you turn it, it sounds like, you know that one?
The cow. Yeah.
I feel so bad that I didn't bought one of that. I wanted so bad one, but it was so expensive. I was like, yeah, not gonna happen. Maybe.
Oh, and now you would have used it right now.
Oh yeah, that would be my intro.
Next time you gotta get it.
I will definitely do. But to finish, Switzerland's amazing. If you haven't been there, go there right now.
I know.
It's a beautiful place.
This is a talk about like going to Switzerland, by the way.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's amazing. You're not gonna regret it at all. It's a perfect place.
Yes, it is.
And going back with your acting career here, tell me, like at first, when you recently started, what kept you going? You know, because I think that whenever you are starting something new, either this project or whatever, first you don't know what you're doing, and of course that at first there's gonna be a lot of I'm not gonna say mistakes because they're not mistakes, but there's gonna be like a lot of moments in which you will ask yourself like, should I go forward or should I just do something else? So what kept you going to continue going your career?
So, I mean, it started a long time ago. I always say it's not like my career started when I was 10, but that's when I did start acting.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like I said, I made my first film in a lead role when I was like 16. And then it was still like fun and games because I was still in high school and it was, you know, it wasn't like a serious career choice I've made yet. And then right after graduating high school, I really started pursuing acting. And that's kind of when it gets rough because you're like, I am going to go like full blast for this career and I'm going to give my all and I'm going to make it my #1 priority in life. And with that decision comes a lot of pressure because you're like, this is all I'm gonna do. There's nothing else. I mean, of course, you still can have a life on the side of it, even though for a while I was like, no, I don't need a life. I just need acting, which is not a very good idea. But because you just make it the number one thing, there's so much pressure that you need it to work out. So that's why along your career, I think most actors or filmmakers learn to, as much as they want it, it's better to not put so much pressure to. It's like this fine balance of really wanting it and working really hard, but at the same time, you just gotta let go and trust that whatever is supposed to come to you is coming to you, and whatever is not supposed to be in your life is falling away. Totally drifting off of the topic of this question, but I guess what keeps me going is just that, like, in the 10 plus years I've pursued this, anytime I was like, this is too hard, I can't do this, I don't want to do it anymore, it's too difficult, it's too much competition, I would be like, I'll do something else. And then for like a day or two, I'd be looking around or like trying another side job, and I'm like, I cannot do this. I cannot do anything else but acting and film. And this happened to be multiple times over the last 10 years that I just over and over had to realize that it is the most exciting thing to me and the thing that fulfills me the most in life, and that any other job I would try to do or like have like a minor interest in, I basically give up on it after like a few weeks or a couple months. And so really it is that I don't want to do anything but that.
That's amazing. I love that.
Oh.
That is really cool. That is so cool. So then in 2008 you were in Foya Fest. Tell me, was that like one of your first projects, and what did you learn like from those first experiences?
First of all, you said that really well.
Thank you.
But you also told me you were in Germany for a while, so yeah. I was like, wow, that was a solid pronunciation. Well, so that's my first short film that I was cast in, and I played the lead role in, and I was back in Switzerland. And you know, it's funny because looking back, I knew absolutely nothing about film or acting. And I remember even like going there, and I was like, oh my God, it was so professional. They had like a big camera, and they had like bounce lights. I didn't even know what any of this is called, but I was like, wow, this is a movie set. And so I think what I've learned is pretty much everything that anybody would learn the first time they step on a film set, which is so much. And it's like there's benefits and disadvantages for being super new and naive, because I didn't know anything, which of course sometimes makes you more nervous, because you're like, what is this? Why are they pointing that at me? What are they measuring on my face with this machine? And why is this guy like writing something down? Like, you don't know anything, and so it can make you nervous, especially when you're this young. But the advantage of like being naive and unknowing is that you're just playing, and you're not worried about all the things you know. So you're not worried about the script writing something down, or like the director whispering to the DP. You're just kind of like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I'm having so much fun. I'm just playing and with the other actors and being in this character and doing whatever you're doing. So I think I definitely learned that this is what I want to do. Like I said before, that was for sure. I remember the few days we were filming that, I was like, I cannot imagine that there's anything more fun in life than this. And I think after that film, I was like, I'm going to do this. After I graduate, I'm just going to go full blast for it. And so I think that's the biggest thing I learned, that I really want to do this.
Okay. That is so cool. So then between 2011 and 2014, you were in Nobody Calls Me a Bitch, Living Real, The Serious Rave Party Scene, Trapped, Strangers, Marriage Counseling, Vampire Club 3D, Beneath the Watchtower, Clouds, The Couch, Gold Rush. But tell me, like, what are some of the things that you usually do to prepare a character? Now you understand, of course, that depends on the role. Yeah, that depends on the role. But like, what usually sets you in this mood to start to create this character?
It's first of all, it's so funny when you read through these credits because they're so old and it's so long ago, and I'm like, oh right. Like I don't barely remember. I mean, when you say the title, I remember, but like it's so long ago. I love it though. So what helps me? The question is, what helps me prepare for a character? So it really depends on the script.
Yeah, totally.
And I always say that and on the genre, because if I am playing a character that is close to me, like let's say somebody that is pursuing acting, or somebody even that is from Switzerland or Europe even, or somebody that just has similarities with my own experiences in life, like my family's history or my own struggles I went through, or just the journey in my life. If that is like somewhat similar, parallel to the character, then there's less imagination to be done. But let's say if it's like a sci-fi role, like I've had a few roles where, you know, there's so much visual effects involved that when you're actually filming on set, might be in a green box, like behind like a green screen or a blue screen, or you know, you might have these like minor props. Or a great example is if you do motion capture, which I've done a few times, there's literally nothing around you. I mean, you are in a black box. There's a black floor, there's a black ceiling, there's black walls. If you're lucky, you have some like random props in your hands that might be similar to the props in the scene, or might be completely random and different. So in those cases, there's so much imagination because you have nothing around you. So it's helpful to do preparation in what is it you're seeing, and what is it you're hearing, and what does it make you feel when you see that? You know, what are the emotions that come with what is surrounding you? Because going on set, there's nothing there. So I think depending on the type of project, the type of genre, the type of story, and the type of character you have to do, for me I have to do way more imaginational work in advance or less. And and for every actor it's different. I really like doing substitution, we call it, which is that you recall people or events in your life that made you have a similar emotion to maybe what the character is feeling.
Okay.
So I like using that if it's appropriate. Sometimes it's not, and it doesn't work. But overall, I think it's just really important that you're there. It's so cheesy saying all this, but that you're there in the moment. Like that's the number one thing, that you're on set in a moment with, hopefully if there is another actor, with the other actor. Because again, the last project I did where I was doing a Barbie commercial and I did motion capture as Barbie, I had nobody around me. It was just me. So I was playing 5 different characters. So I was acting with imaginary people constantly. And then it's really hard to be in the moment because you're like, there's nobody here.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
So I luckily had one of the like crew members was just standing next to me. So I at least had a pair of eyes to look at, which is honestly like so helpful. But yeah, so it's bottom line is that it just is so different from project to project.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, so yeah, it's basically magic.
It can be, yes.
I mean, it sounds but it's so cool. I mean, and I always have said that I hope at some point I get the chance. I mean, to be on a movie set or something like that. I mean, not to be as an actor or whatever, just to watch, because I would love to watch like how the whole. I mean, I think that like the whole planning, you know, before shooting a scene must be super interesting though. So I really hope one day I can get the chance to do that, so I can just have a chair, have some popcorn and enjoy it. Like, okay, they do that. Oh, that's so cool how they do that. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm sure you will. I mean, considering you're doing this and you're interviewing so many filmmakers and actors, you know, one of us will invite you one day.
Please do. That will be amazing. I promise that I'll behave. I promise that I'll behave.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna. I mean, nobody's gonna know that I'm even there. So
That's the best way to be.
exactly. And like, what would you say? It's one of the important aspects to make a relatable character. You know, to make this character that you are, that whenever you're watching this movie, TV show, or even a video game too, sometimes that you actually care about it. You know, that you actually feel like I hope that this character don't die. It's like, what do you think that is one of the aspects to create that feeling for the audience?
So yeah, first you said relatable, and then you said, oh, so that also you mean that the audience cares for the character, right?
Mm.
That they're like, they're almost like fighting for them when they're watching it.
Yeah.
It's so interesting you say that, because there's so many times I watch a film and I'm just like, I just didn't really care for this character. It doesn't happen a lot, but like, it's a great question because it's so important. And I think it's kind of what I mentioned a little bit before, that I was mentioning substitution, which I am using that to create a real emotion that is coming from a true place. And I think, let's say my character is fighting for her daughter's life or something. If I don't have a true emotional connection to that actress, let's say, who plays my daughter, or like I don't use a substitution for somebody that I personally, Andrea, truly love in my life, and almost see that in the actress who plays my daughter in her, like only when you do that, I feel like it creates that real bond and that real emotion and that real feeling that can be felt from the audience. And I think this does have to do with just doing the work. You know, people always say doing the work, because if you don't do the deep layered emotional work, it's just gonna appear superficial.
Totally.
And let's say and that gets better the longer you do it, of course. Like, I think in the beginning, when you first start acting, it's probably going to take you a while to figure out how do you create a bond with that actress, or how do you portray real love, how do you make that believable for the audience. But I think the longer you do it, the more you find almost little triggers in yourself, or like buttons that you can push because you get to know yourself better. And that makes it more believable, again, for the audience, that this is a real relationship. So I think it's just doing the real work of an actor to create that emotional bond or experience.
Perfect. That's amazing. And then in 2015, you were in even more projects, such as The California Nightmare, Ale Coiren, a parody, Timeless, Escape, Boba Fett, Untold Story, Star Wars fan film. I mean, but tell me, like, what are some of the things that you usually do before shooting a scene? I mean, do you have, like, let's say, like a ritual, like you have like a go-to song before, or a go-to meal after? Like, what are the usual things you do before shooting scene?
So again, different from project to project, different from scene to scene.
Totally.
I've done so many different things, and you also kind of try different things out, that's why it's nice, like when I make a lot of my own projects, and hence there's less pressure involved, because I am the writer and the producer, and you know, there's not like $1 million involved, so you can kind of test out what works and what doesn't. But music is definitely a thing for me that can really trigger me, and specific songs. It's not always like the same song. On a recent short film that we filmed, that I also wrote and produced, called Paradiddle, is like one of the more recent ones from this year. I listened to one very, very specific song before one really emotional scene at the end of the movie, and that just really got me into the emotion. And sometimes it's surprising because sometimes it just doesn't work, and sometimes it does, and you're like, oh my god, this worked. And it's so, you can be in control again the more you know yourself and your emotions, but some things are just so out of your control, like how the conditions are on set, how much time you have, how you feel in that moment. Like, are you super tired? Is it like freezing outside, which can help?
Yeah.
I remember it was really cold when we filmed that scene, which helped me to get emotional, because you're already, like, the body responds, you're already shaking, and it helps me personally create that emotion quicker. But it's just like the conditions on set that are more or less out of your control can of course affect each moment. And again, so the better you know yourself, the better you can kind of control that and your emotions. But yeah, so music helps me a lot. Even like watching like quick clips, like sometimes I just pull up YouTube and watch something that has triggered me in the past, that has made me sad or made me laugh or made me angry, or so it is like almost like external media helps. And I even write it down, like when I like randomly, not on set, just on a random day, watch something that makes me really sad. I'm like, I may put it in my notes, like this video made me cry, and then like I can pull that up whenever, you know, it's necessary.
I love it. I mean, basically you're like stacking ammo.
What?
You're like stacking ammunition, you know, like ammunition.
Oh yeah.
For
like in a video game, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Now, later on, you were in Walk the Prank, Don't Miss You, Fashion Boulevard, Daughters, Sniffers, Tap Tap Tap, Hungry Rat, Things For, Michael Blunt, Cupid's Paradise. I mean, the list is so huge and it's so amazing. I mean, while I was doing the whole research, I was like, man, she's doing everything. She's killing it. But tell me, what do you think it's important for storytelling?
What is important for storytelling? As an actress, or?
Yep.
Well, I think obviously you need to understand the story. So when you read a script, it's really important to get the message, because sometimes, you know, the text you read that is black on white isn't necessarily what the story is about, right? There's like a deeper underlying message, especially if it's, I mean, I guess in every story there's a deeper underlying message, but I was going to say especially in a drama or maybe even sci-fi, right? You're telling a story of maybe what you believe, like maybe something that really happened, or a prediction of the future, or something that's currently going on in the present. It's just like, what is the message? And I think that is the most important thing, because it's funny, when you start acting, you know, it's like in that moment I just remembered a million mistakes I made. And it's like, for example, when you don't understand story yet, let's say you're like reading a scene and you think your character is like, you're like, oh my god, this is such a sad scene. Oh yeah, my character is definitely gonna break down and cry or something. But if you don't understand story, that might actually have the opposite effect. Like, that might not work. Maybe your character in that moment, yeah, it is sad, but the point of your character is to be incredibly strong in that moment. Maybe because the other character is supposed to break down. And you really need to understand that. And I think that's like one of the classic beginner actor mistakes that, you know, I've made plenty of time. And I'm still learning too. It's not like I definitely haven't figured it out, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just, story is so much more important than most people understand in the beginning. It's like, what is the message of this scene? Not like just like, what emotion would I like to feel?
Totally. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So then you were in Halfway. You played as Megan. Tell me, like, what are some of the things that you enjoyed about your character?
Well, that was hilarious. So Megan, so Halfway is like, it was a story about a bunch of crazy women in a halfway house that have various type of addictions, and it's like a very over the top comedy. And I played Megan, who was a pica addict, which before knowing about Megan, I was like, what is that? I've never heard that. This is so weird. So for the ones that don't know, pica addicts are people who crave or eat material that are non-food. Like it's an actually existing thing. So it's like, it could be like paper or foam, fabric, or like random stuff. And so it was really fun to create that character, because when you do such an over the top comedy, it's fun because you can go really far. And I really enjoyed finding the extreme quirkiness in her. So I almost played her as a child. So I remember I decided to like color my hair turquoise. I was always wearing really colorful, like almost pajamas, and I had like a pacifier on my neck all the time, and which all had like, everything had a reason, like that was building the character. Totally. But it was really fun because I was a producer on that too, you know, and all of us we were this group called Chicks Making Flicks, and we all had our kind of our creative input that we could, you know, we could all bring to the table with each character and the whole story. And so it's always super fun to have creative freedom. Like I was, you know, able to decide what this character would wear or how this character would act, and then we would test it out by rehearsing and engaging with each other. But yeah, the funnest thing was that I played her like super quirky and like almost like a little girl, which was, it's not something I usually play. Okay, that was fun.
Amazing. That is such fun. So you're in even more shows. You see, you're killing it here. You were in Ghost Story Club, Sorry for Your Loss, Last Man Standing. But tell me, like, what are some of the difference between a set for a movie and a set for a TV show?
Well, a set for a TV show, if you're already like, let's say, a few seasons in, most likely there's a massive bond. I mean, if everybody gets along well, hopefully. But there's a massive bond between the cast and crew. Because let's say you're in like season 3 and at least the main actors, I mean, of course, there's always a lot of supporting actors that come and go, or day players that come and go. But between the main actors and the main crew members, you know, I mean, I've never been on a show for like that length of time, but I can only imagine that you would have an extreme bond, like almost like a family. And on a movie, you know, of course, if you're filming a short film, it might only last a couple days, and then it's just like come and go, and it could be really fun and quick, but it's not a long-lasting, you know, project and experience as like a family together. A feature, of course, is a little different. Let's say that could be a couple weeks long, but I think overall it is the length of it, and kind of the consistency with the main actors. I always imagine it must be so wild if you're on a show for like 10 seasons and then, or like even 5 seasons, and then you're separating. Like, I don't know if I'd be able to handle that. Like,
yeah.
That just sounds so, intense.
So cool. So cool. In 2020, you were in Westworld. Tell me about your character and what are some of the things that you enjoy about your performance in that show?
Well, Westworld was amazing, obviously, needless to say. It was probably one of my favorite experiences. And I played a German singer, which, of course, it's good to pursue or kind of portray yourself as a character that goes along with your strengths. So it took me a long time in my career to realize that actually speaking all these other languages that most Americans don't speak is a huge benefit.
Totally.
And I remember moving here thinking, oh, cool, I just have to fit in. Which now, looking back, it's like, what? No, like definitely not. Like you're not gonna fit in. You have to stand out.
Yeah.
You know. And I was trying to have the perfect American accent. I was trying to, you know, hide that I'm Swiss. I wouldn't say it. I would just be like, hopefully they don't hear an accent, or hopefully they're just gonna think I'm from here. And then once I started embracing that I'm not from here, that I am Swiss, that I do speak four languages in total, that I can do all these European accents really authentically, and most Americans that, you know, try to do a German accent, it just sounds silly. Like, no offense, but it does. Not you, you're not American, but your German's great.
No, but I do understand. I mean, one of the things that I laugh even to this day is that, for example, we will look at like a World War II movie, and then all of the Germans will speak English like they come from Cambridge or Oxford, you know, and you're like, you know, like those type of things. I mean, I understand, of course, that sometimes they will need this huge actor to, you know, to put on the name and the movie go blow up. But I would appreciate that if they would make it, you know, try to make it like more realistic as possible, to be like, okay, yeah, German, they're speaking German. They're French, they're speaking French, you know, like stuff like that.
Yeah. So, and for Westworld, I mean, I've told the story so many times at this point, but it was basically like everything happened within 2 hours. Like the call I got from the casting office, to the audition, to me booking the job, to me being on set, was like in a 2-3 hour span. Like, it was absolutely insane in the best way. But it's because, you know, they just needed somebody last minute. I don't know. I still don't know why, to be honest, but who was able to, you know, speak German, be authentically German, sing this song, and just like, you know, nail it right away without any rehearsal or preparation. And so that was hugely in my favor, because, you know, there were other people there who were Americans, or they were like, oh, I lived in Germany or something, but you could tell that they're not authentic. And that's, I love that they went with someone authentic, which doesn't always happen. Like, the amount of times I hear German on a TV show and I'm like, I'm sorry, what was that? Like, that was not even German. It was like half American, half something else. Yeah. And so that's always kind of like annoying. But I think they're really going in the right direction now, like the industry, because they're really avoiding at all costs now to cast unauthentic people. Yeah. Like, if it comes to a nationality, an ethnicity, a language, and you know, anything like that, they're trying to cast the real person in that sense. So,
totally. I know what you mean. Yeah. And the same happens here sometimes. That, for example, either on a TV show or movie, that they will go to Mexico, and the guys who speak Spanish, you're like, nobody in Mexico speaks like that. You know, like nobody speaks like that. Not at all. So yeah, it is so interesting, and I find it cool that they're actually kind of putting hands to it, and they're trying to make it like more, you know, kind of make it more natural. And as you said, it is. I mean, it is cool if you are going to have like this role for either German, French, whatever. If you give it to somebody from that country, you know, because like the pronunciation. I mean, but besides that, I mean, it's like I always say. I mean, I love to curse. I love to curse in Spanish, and like when I hear people curse in English, or when I curse in English, you know, it doesn't feel the same that if I curse in my own language. You know, it doesn't have like the same power. You know, like the same connection. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, they do say when you get emotional, like angry or sad, you know, it's best to be let out in your native language.
Oh yeah, totally. I prefer 1,000 times to, and I remember that my first days in Germany, like my first days, because I went there without knowing anything. I was for the authentic, right? And the first day when I was hearing them, I was like, man, either they're cursing each other or something is about to happen. And then a friend of mine was like, no, they're just talking random stuff.
They're like, hello, how are you? And you're like, oh my god, they're so angry.
Yeah, he's angry. Oh, something's about to happen. And they're like, no, he's just excited because he's going to, I don't know, to someplace. I was, that's so cool.
The German language is so romantically, no, it's not. It's so angry.
I mean, I ended up loving it because it was really cool. It's but it's a very tough. It's a very like a,
harsh language. Yeah.
Harsh language. Yeah, but I loved it. And but yeah, now also that same year you were in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. That's so cool. Was that like your first video game experience?
Yeah. Yeah, it was my first video game. I'm trying to think right now. I don't think I knew, like, oftentimes when you audition for like bigger projects, you have no idea what you're auditioning for. I mean, the same with Westworld. I didn't know it was Westworld until I was almost at the lot auditioning. I was like, no idea what the show is. And with Call of Duty 2, I don't think I knew in the audition, but I think in the callback they tell you. But you have to sign all these like NDAs
for privacy. Yeah.
That you're not saying anything, and then like, so this is Call of Duty, and you're like, okay. It was really fun. I got to play several characters, and that's also, again, the first time I was able to do motion and performance capture, which I explained in the beginning, which was like a whole new world, to say the least. But it was super fun. I'm really glad I got to be part of it, and I hope to do another one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool. And it's so interesting that now video games have become also part of the whole entertainment industry in a big way. We will see sometimes that the budget for a video game, it's like they were, it's huge. It's sometimes ridiculous, for like the process of making it. So.
Yeah, no, it's a massive industry that excuse me, that I had no idea like almost existed. I mean, like, obviously I knew it existed, but like, even when I was part of it, even when we were like done recording and filming, I think like slowly but surely after, I was like, oh my god, this is huge. Like, the fan base is massive. Like, I think I never had as many people contact me after a project as after
that one.
Call of Duty. Like, way more than like Westworld or obviously any other project I did. So I was like, Jesus.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's as I said. I mean, it is amazing how everything is growing, and how everything, like the whole video game. I mean, like back in the day, like the video games, like with the voice like the voice and like the whole acting for video games back in the day was kind of a little bit cringe. And now we will see that they would put like a lot of effort in the motion capture. They will give you like the script. They will like really work on it, and like, it is amazing. And yeah, I'm impressed with like how much details they are like basically putting on on video games now, that at some point, I mean, it's gonna be like even like more and more kind of realistic. And
oh my god, for sure. Like, it's gonna be terrifyingly realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, it already is. Like, you see like the people's pores. Like, that's how like detail oriented they are nowadays with or even virtual reality. Like, you're gonna stand right in front of it, like, and it's just around the corner. And yeah, that's interesting that you're saying back in the day the acting was kind of cringe, because I never really played much video games, but I can totally imagine that. And I think it has to do as well with that it took a while for a lot of the big video games to become union. So where now they're using actors who are in the union, which are obviously more experienced than actors that are non-union, because those are most of the time ones that are just starting out. And so I think that has a big thing to do with it as well, that they're like, actually, let's use like real actors versus just like they might have just been like, oh, we just need a couple of people like saying some lines or running around or
Yeah.
so that changed. I'm glad it did, because why would you half-ass, you know, such a big industry, like acting in such a huge industry? Like, might as well use the real deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's actually, for example, this game called Grand Theft Auto for the one in in Grand Theft Auto Vice City. I mean, it's an old game. The cast they used, it was top notch. I mean, they were using guys like Ray Liotta or Robert Davey, William Fichtner, Danny. I mean, they were like a lot of big guys involved into the whole acting, the voice acting, and that was amazing. And I think maybe those guys were like starting it to making it like, okay, let's bring more real actors into this to make it, you know, like more engagement and everything. So that's cool.
Totally. No, I mean, the actors I worked with on Call of Duty were amazing. Like, they're like top notch. I mean, there's nothing about it that, you know, is at this point that is different from going on a film set or a TV show. Like, everybody is on top of their game. But yeah, it's just interesting to hear that it wasn't always like that.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I wasn't. Back in the day, there were some games in which you were like, it was just connecting, or it was cringe. It was like super weird, or they would be acting in the most unrealistic way. You would be like, nobody would say that in the middle of the situation, but that's fine. So.
How funny. Yeah, I can imagine. That was cringe.
Yeah. Now, your character in that game is Greta, right?
In Call of Duty?
Yeah.
It was, you know, in that moment, I just forgot her name. Edda. Yes, Edda. That's what he said?
Yeah, Greta.
Edda House. Yeah, she was probably my main character, but I did like 6-7 different like smaller characters. But I think she's the most famous one because she's the wife of one of the bad guys. Hope I'm not spoiling stuff.
I mean, it's been already a year, so I think.
Yeah, at this point, right? It's not like Spider-Man.
I mean, if we're spoiling it, we're like, come on. But,
yeah, no, yeah, he's one of the bad. I think he's like the bad, like one of the actual bad guy that they have to catch. And I'm the wife. Yeah,
and actually, you get the chance either. You play it right, you get the chance to save her, or not, if I remember. I played it.
Oh, so what is interesting, that's actually probably the most interesting thing about video games, I feel like, is that, you know, you have alternative options.
Yeah, some of them, yeah, it's really cool.
Because depending on what the player is gonna do, I will say something else or react differently. And so you have like alternative A, alternative B, alternative C. And obviously in film, you don't have that unless it's like a multiple choice film, which I don't think there's that many yet. There's one Black Mirror episode that is like that. Insane, absolutely insane. But so yeah, you actually can't kill her, which I love. But you can tranquilize her when you come in, and because you're trying to hide from her, and then you're distracting her like with a phone call and all that stuff. But yeah, I think if you're gonna try and pull out your gun, there's like, you know, one of the like what are they called, announcers, like who are speaking over your headphones. They will tell you that you can't do that. So but yeah, it was just fun being playing like various options. And then I guess I don't even remember if I have gone. No, I think I have gone into the game. I played it once because I wanted to see. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. That's very different from film and TV.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you are already part of the Call of Duty franchise. That's so cool.
I guess, universe. Yeah, which is wild to even hear that. And I'm like, yeah.
That's so amazing. Yeah, that's badass. That's badass too. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, as I was saying to you, when I was checking everything what you do, I was like, yeah, that's badass. Plus two.
I love that. Yeah. No, it's definitely fun. I definitely feel honored that I'm part of it. Because again, it took a while for me to realize like what this is and how big it is, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Yeah, like in those games, whenever you can get the like multiple decisions. I always joke. I mean, my friends joke at me because I always choose the worst endings possible, and I'm still wondering if that makes me a bad person or I'm just very naive. I'm still working on it, but like in every game with that, I always get the worst ending, which is. I mean, and at some point, even some friends will tell me like, "Hey, so do you play this game?" I'm like, "Yeah." What's the worst ending, by the way? I'm like, okay, the worst ending is.
Oh my god!
Perfect. So yeah, I don't know why.
Do you do it accidentally or intentionally?
I mean, I do
it's
it
always
intentionally, but I do it thinking like this is the right choice. But then it turns out that it wasn't, and then I'm constantly be like, but what? But why? I mean, am I really naive or very bad here, or what is going on here? That most of the times I will get like the worst ending. So.
Oh my gosh, I kind of like that because you always probably get a different ending from all your friends. Mm-hmm. You're like, cool. You have no idea what happened to me. Like, it's very different.
Totally. That is really cool. It's a different experience for everybody. That's true.
Yeah, it is.
Totally. Fun. Now, you have also produced, right, and direct. Tell me, like, what are some of the things that you enjoy the most about everything?
Well, so I think I started writing, producing, editing, directing, all these other things that you can do on a set that are not acting. Originally because I wanted to tell my own stories as well.
Totally.
And I also wanted to play the roles that I was interested in playing and not just the roles that were written for me or that I was cast in, which is also, of course, super fun because there's something nice about only acting because I think once you've done all the other roles and then suddenly only act again in a project, you're like, I don't have to worry about the schedule. I don't have to worry about the time. I don't have to worry about props and is this person showing up and what's the weather like? Are we losing light? You know, then it almost becomes more relaxing, which is a great thing. So once you've done everything and you go back to just acting, you're like, that's pretty chill. I have dogs too. I put them away.
Yeah, I live with 3 dogs. So.
Yeah, I have 3 as well. It's a lot. One is they're all sleeping now, but
I spend more food on them than me.
Oh my gosh, I feel like that too sometimes. Except they're all really small.
No,
but it's definitely maintenance. Especially when I'm like trying to do a call and they're like I had to turn the doorbell off and stuff because if that went off, it would be a shit show in here. But back to so yeah, I've done everything because I want to tell my own stories. I want to act in the stories that I want to tell and I want to play the parts that I'm interested in. And I also just like having control more in terms of what the story is going to be. Mm-hmm. And I mean, honestly, I think I started making my own tiny little micro films when I was like a teenager, like with just like me and another friend. We would grab this tiny like digital camera and we'd go in the forest and film all these dramatic scenes and then start cutting it together. And then we would just make like a film project and we would have so much fun. It was like, again, like without pressure because it was just for fun. There was no career attached or any type of reputation or anything. But then later on, I think you mentioned it before at some point, California Nightmare, or actually Clouds. And then California Nightmare were kind of my first 2 films that while I was already pursuing acting kind of pretty intensely, I decided to make those as writer, producer, co-director, and I think I edited them too. It's just really nice to be having this full creative freedom to do what you want to do. And so if you, I mean, I highly recommend for every and any actor to make their own stuff. Obviously, that's not like a secret anymore. Nowadays, everybody has a phone. Like you can literally make a movie in this very moment if you want to.
Yeah.
And there's so many benefits to it. It's not only learning and improving and growing, but also putting out content, exploring different roles, getting to know all the different roles. Like probably almost done every role on set. I mean, including, you know, holding a boom, being a second assistant camera, like clapboard, like lights. I mean, lights is maybe the one thing I haven't really properly done because I'm not really, I wouldn't, yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's not a good idea. But like I've done almost every single role, and it is very, very helpful to understand every role on set, even when you're just acting.
I love it. I love it. And what advice could you give to those who are recently started either acting, directing, producing, or writing?
I would give the advice to embrace who you truly are. Kind of calling back to what I said before with how long it took me to realize that I need to embrace who I am and where I come from and what I like, what I dislike, just who I am as a person and what my true skills and talents are and what makes me stand out. If you embrace that, like, you're gonna be unique and individual and special in your own way, and you can bring your own stories to life and to the screen and tell your own stories, versus if you're trying to be like everyone else and try to fit in and, oh, I'd like to be, you know, I like to come from somewhere else, I'd like to look differently, I'd like to speak differently, I'd like to be more like that person. It's not gonna work because it's just not authentic, and authenticity is the true factor to success, I think.
There you go. I agree.
Yeah.
Now, if you could describe your career at the moment, of course, but on a movie, TV show, book, or even a video game, why not? What would be the title of it?
I know we briefly talked about this before, and I was like, I'll come up with something in the moment, and here I am, no idea. Something like on I was gonna say Lost in LA, but maybe like on the, oh God, I don't even know. With Lost in LA, I really don't. I just always feel like it's so, LA is such a weird city. Like, not that I feel lost, but at the same time, it's just, there's just so much going on, and I feel like no one truly has a clue what they're doing. No clue in LA.
I like it.
Yeah,
No,
but it's like,
yeah,
it's good to know, it's good to be aware that that's actually a fact. Like, especially in America, like, people are very, very good at pretending to know what they're doing, and at pretending and faking confidence, and at, you know, acting as if they've got everything under control. But it's there's so much facade going on, and I think knowing that helps to kind of like take it a little more easy and let go of so much of the stress and expectations that we all have of oneself and of each other. So yeah, no clue in LA. That's my, but it's like it's a comedy.
Yeah, definitely. I like it. Well, then if at some point, I mean, since basically Netflix is doing everything, you know, we might have a shot here.
Netflix is doing everything. Oh, like, you mean they're gonna make it? Yeah, they're probably gonna make it. They're probably writing it right now.
Yeah. At some point, who knows? Maybe.
I'm sure there's somebody in this town that is currently writing No Clue in LA.
Yeah, I like that title. Yeah, let's make it a movie one day.
Yeah.
If it is already, if it is not already. I mean, if there is something called No Clue in LA, soon I will say, like, they stole our idea.
Yes, I will keep an eye out because it's probably gonna happen sooner or later. everything's been made too.
Yeah, totally.
That's the thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And if you could describe your career, but on a drink, which one would you pick?
I would say a red wine because
Fancy, okay.
it gets better with age.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I bet a bunch of people have said that before. It's
No,
not very original.
Actually, the one that I've heard the most is Long Island tea. Shot of tequila.
Yeah, I like that. I like the shot of tequila.
Yeah, those have been the most heard. I mean, the one that is barely, it's water.
Yeah, because it's like, how is a career plain and healthy?
Because, I mean, the thing is that they will explain it perfectly, so it will make sense. Be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But,
yeah.
But
so red wine gets better with age. It's like trying to like bring it out in fan, like what's the word, in like upscale moments, but it also sometimes comes out in moments that are low, like you use it in different events. Comes in handy all the time.
There you go. And if you drink too much, you're gonna die the next day.
Yeah. And if you do too much of it, exactly, you're gonna wake up with a hangover. So in moderation, but gets better with age for various events.
I love it. Such an epic drink.
I bet after this call, I'm gonna be like, should have said Prosecco. Should have said Baileys. I'm gonna think all night long about all the different drinks.
Then maybe next time we could do a special on drinks, and then we can mention all of those.
I like it. Yes, it will only be about drinks and what they mean in a career.
I actually have an idea like that, but anyway, yeah, like something just clicked in my head, like, wait.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, something clicked. Anyway.
I love it. That's what I like to hear. Sometimes people say random things, and I was thinking, I have no idea what I'm talking about, and you're like, oh my god, and I love that.
Yeah.
You're writing it down. I can see it.
Yeah, I'm just putting the idea, so I will.
You're like, hold on 1 second. I can't forget about this one.
I will not forget it, because it happens that sometimes I look at this idea and I forget it. So I just put like the main goal and be like, oh yeah, got it. So yeah. Anyway, to going back here.
Yes.
Tell me, like, what motivates you? I mean, we all have those days, right? In which we basically feel like crap. We don't want to do. We just don't want to continue doing the thing that we love. We think that it's not the way that we want it to. We feel that we have waste time, that nobody's gonna like it, stuff like that. So what gets you out of this whole toxic thought to back again and be like, I'm just gonna continue doing this because I love it?
So yes, for sure, 100%. We all have down moments when we're down. I mean, it's like a joke. It's obviously like every actor constantly has self-doubt. And I think every director, every filmmaker, every writer, oh my God, speaking of writer's block, I mean, it's part of a career. I don't think it can exist without it. Maybe there's also like partially a healthy aspect to it, because it's like maybe that makes us like have downtimes, not in a negative sense, but in like a healthy, calm sense, where we all need breaks. Like Christmas is coming up, which I actually don't know if I'm gonna take much of a break, but like it's just healthy to like use these downtimes as times to recharge and rejuvenate ourselves, and I think I read in a book called Steal Like an Artist. I think it's sitting on my table right there.
Okay.
But he was saying to keep a praise file, which I haven't actually really done yet, but it's like any type of emails or letters you got, or I mean, I guess you can even print out text messages or something if you want to make it a physical praise file. But only, I would say only use it in the moment when you're really down, but to get yourself back up and be like, no, I have so many people that believe in me. I can do this. It's like, this is just a phase. And to me also, it helps, like, the more these phases I have, the more I'm aware that they are just phases, because nothing lasts forever.
Totally.
And when I have a phase where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I suck. This is the worst. There's no way I'm going to keep pursuing this career. Nowadays, I just tell myself, okay, like, this is a phase, because sometimes it literally lasts a day or two, sometimes a week. Yeah. I think the longest I ever had was a few months, where I was like, I'm done. But then it just doesn't last. And it's good to know that. And the praise file is a good idea, which I would use sparingly. But in moments where, one is really low, I think that could be helpful.
I love it. And my last question here is, what can we expect from you in the future?
Well, I just wrapped a few projects. So, actually, no, the Barbie thing just came out. Yeah, I was doing like a Barbie commercial, like I mentioned. I filmed a couple months ago 2 horror feature films as the lead role.
Okay.
We just had a private screening a week ago or so with the cast and crew. It's quite hilarious. It's like a low budget horror. 2 features. Watched them back to back, and I think they're gonna come out in February. And usually, I've done a few films with that production company. They do try to put it on Amazon Prime, and then Amazon Video, whatever it's called. Prime Video. There we go. That's the one. And I think DVD. Could probably buy a DVD somewhere. And then I'm working a lot on my own things. So I'm actually gonna write on a pilot for a TV show over Christmas break. So that's still super up in the air, but we have plans to pitch it and everything. So we'll see what happens with that. And then I think I have a comedy short film that I did a couple months ago that is also coming out at some point. Don't know when. I'm auditioning, like every actor. It's just like you audition and audition and audition, and you just don't know. That's the thing with acting. You like have, like, if you've done projects, like I can say now, this is coming out. But truly, I like, you just don't know. I might have an audition today and book it, and you film in 2 days because that happened. And so it's almost like, it's kind of exciting too, the unpredictability with it, but it's really both. It's like you can plan, but really it's so unpredictable.
I love it.
But yeah, a few things.
I mean, at the end, what can I say, Andrea? I mean, your career is badass. I mean, I would be ending this by saying, her career is badass. She's killing it. Good night, everyone, basically. It is so cool. And I can't wait to see more of your awesome work in the future. As I said, I'm super sure that eventually it's going to be more and more stuff. I mean, the fact that you did a video game, maybe open a door for more in the future, for more show, for everything. And that is so cool that you are doing everything you can, and you are also with the producing, directing, right? I mean, that is also another plus. It's amazing. And as I said, I just can't wait to see more of it, and that you're continuing building your career, that at some point it will become like an empire. We'll see.
Woo! I like that word, empire.
Yeah, I love it, and it's amazing. I mean, I can wait for it, and I'm super sure that it's gonna happen super soon, because the fact that you're doing what you love, and I've said this also in some previous episodes, that the fact that when someone does something with heart and because it's their passion, regardless if some people might like it or not, but they're doing it because it's their passion, it goes well, you know, and it is really cool what you do. And I'm super sure that as there's a lot of people who rely on you and they see you as an inspiration, because if you can do it, everybody can do it. So
I love that. I should have. Oh, I guess you did record it. I was like, I should have recorded that. No, that was great. Thank you so much, Dan. I really appreciate that you have me on here and for everything you're saying. It's, you know, this is like my own little praise file right here, because you know, we're actors are really hard on themselves, and it's just like it helps to hear nice things like that once in a while again, and you're like, you know what, I am doing a lot. Like we're all doing a lot. We're all trying our best, and it's important to remember that. And you know, I would tell everyone who is an actor or filmmaker or dancer, singer, whatever, who is listening to. I know everybody always says it over and over, but just like keep going, be yourself. Don't try to be anyone else. Do what you love. Tell the stories you want to hear. Write the books you want to write. Like you want to write the books you want to read. That's an important one.
Totally.
So yeah, just don't give up.
I love it. I love this. And also, I want to thank those for watching. If you're watching this later, well, if you're watching this later, or if you're watching, you know, or also later on YouTube, or listening in on Spotify or Apple Music, make sure that you're following Andrea on all of social media. You know, normally what I would say is super easy. So you're going to put pause, and then you're going to leave a like, subscribe, follow, help me a lot. And then go eat a cookie. Holidays. Who cares about being healthy? Eat a cookie, 1 or 2 or 5. Eat the whole box. Why not? And then go follow Andrea. Leave a video.
Do it at the same time. Eat the cookie and follow.
There you go. Exactly. Do that. And then, yeah, follow her. Leave me likes. Yeah, I mean, let's make sure everybody knows her. Let's make sure, let's make her trend. Let's put hashtag Team Andrea right now in all of social media, and make sure that everybody knows how she's killing it. And before I send you off, I didn't send you off properly again. So.
Oh. Thank you. Thank you. I love it. That's hilarious.
And keep killing it, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you for having me, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays for you too, and for everybody.
Thank you. Bye.